My parents had the hotel up here, so after school, I and my brother used to have to catch the tram up to the cross. And
what school?
I went to Cranbrook.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the hotel?
At Macleay House.
And it was in Macleay Street?
Yeah, it was very interesting. It used to be the residence of Governor Macleay.
Okay.
And when my father bought it in the mid-50s, 56 I think he bought it, it was just really run down in a boarding house, and at the back part of it was the old former state ballroom. And when my father bought the place, he was going to renovate. When he opened up the state ballroom, that hadn't been opened for about 80 years, in there was the first organ that was ever brought to Australia. And it was a big thing, and my father wanted...
Like a big pipe organ or something?
Yeah, a big pipe organ. So I thought it had some sort of historical significance, being the first organ ever to come to Australia. And he offered it to museums and universities for free.
Yeah.
All they had to do was come and get it.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted it. Nobody at all. And in the end, he had to pay a guy £20, which was
Get rid of it.
to get rid of it, take it away. It was what they call a private hotel. It didn't have a bar.
Yeah. People used to stay there.
They used to stay there. Lots of famous. But Dave Allen, he lived there the whole time he was in Australia.
How long was he in Australia?
Several years, 3 or 4 years.
Well, when was that, in the 60s?
In the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And he became a good mate of my father. Lenny Bruce was there, who they threw out of Australia. He stayed there. Marion Faithfull tried to commit suicide in his hotel. Yeah.
Jesus. That was when the Stones were touring?
No, it's when Mick Jagger came out here to film Ned Kelly.
Oh, okay.
And he brought Marion with him and left her in the hotel in Sydney, and she tried to kill herself.
In Macleay House?
Yeah.
Now, tell us, what was it like in the 50s and 60s around the cross?
In terms of, very different from today.
What sort of people were around here? You're talking about, like, there weren't any prostitutes on the streets then?
No, and you never saw junkies on the streets either. It always had this bohemian feel. You know, there were a lot of artists, musicians. There were some nice shops, nice delicatessens. There were jewellery shops and clothes shops.
So it was a real village sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, where did all the hookers work in those days?
They worked down in lanes off William Street or Stanley Street.
Well, down in East Sydney.
In East Sydney,
yeah.
Yeah, behind where Bill and Tony's and all those places are now.
So when did the shift occur? Like, suddenly, like, hookers and junkies on the streets and stuff like that?
When the American soldiers started coming here on R&R during the Vietnam War.
So what, mid to late 60s?
Yeah, it would have been mid to late 60s, early 70s.
Okay.
Well, mid to late 60s, that's when they all came up to the street. That's when the Bourbon Beefsteak opened and Texas Tavern, all these places, and a lot of places catering specifically to the huge R&R.
How long have you been hanging around the Piccolo Bar?
Too long. I first came here at about 1970, I think.
Yeah?
So it's about 38 years.
And has it changed much?
Oh yes. Changed enormously.
The Piccolo has?
Oh, yes.
Like what?
Well,
Victoria.
Well, Victoria.
Wave, Victoria. Wave.
You and that fucking camera. All right?
I'll put that up.
Well, first of all, it used to be only open at night. It used to open at 6 o'clock at night and stay open until about 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it used to be a very relaxed place. It used to be a place where a lot of night workers, such as actors and musicians and other people that worked at night, used to come after their shows were over and sit until the early hours of the morning, drinking coffee and smoking joints and just generally relaxing. That's of course all changed now.
Yeah.
Now you come to the Piccolo, it's closed at 11 o'clock at night, 11:30, and quite dead. I was looking at an old program from about 1980, which showed that within a, say, kilometre radius of where we're sitting right now, there was around 20 live music places. There's not
like the Mansell Room, Cardona Cafe, places like that?
Exactly.
What were some of the others?
Well, the El Rocco.
The jazz place?
The Stiletto Room. There was, I'm trying to remember.
Where was the Stiletto Room?
That was down in Orwell Street. It's now a backpackers hostel.
Okay. And what sort of music did they play there? Rock and roll?
No, that was jazz.
Yeah.
There was places that played Latin music, played jazz. There was the Ball Pants, which was in a lane in Brougham Street, which was rock and roll. There was a lot of places. All the pubs had to have music. It was pre-pokey days.
Yeah, yeah.
So they all had live bands and live music.